Hey, we're at the Townie Meeting 2015 in Las Vegas, Nevada in the Bellagio, and I am going to have fun today. I get an hour with Colin Receveur. And how are you doing, Colin?
Doing great.
And it's interesting because you're 30, and I got out of school at 24, and everything you do now didn't even exist when I got out of school. When I got out of school, the new age controversial thing, which I did, was a full page ad in the Yellow Pages.
Oh my gosh.
And by God, that actually got me a free lunch with the executive director of the Arizona State Dental Association because he did not like that. He came and bought me lunch, and he was probably 50, and I was a young kid, and he was saying, would you get a bypass done with a guy out of the Yellow Pages? Yeah. If you had cancer, would you go to a guy out of the Yellow Pages? And I was like, I felt bad because I was paying $1,000 a month and getting like 40 or 50 new patients a month for this ad.
Good.
Because I was the young idiot doing it, and all the older, mature guys in medical, dental, professional buildings would just not do something like that.
You know, my dad opened up practice in '81. And
what kind of practice?
Dental.
Dental.
Yeah, that's how I got into dentistry.
Okay, so your dad's a dentist.
He is, yep.
And what's even funnier is your mom's dad was a pharmacist?
I've got a whole family of pharmacists.
Pharmacists, and you're not ever going to believe the story, but his last name was Butt, B-U-T-T.
Buttdrugs, buttdrugs.com.
That is hilarious.
Still run today, old-fashioned soda milkshake stand on the side of the drugstore, just like it was when it opened in '52.
And I assume he had a bunch of daughters named Bertha Butt, Bigger Butt, Brown Butt, Bubble Butt.
That was my mom now. Easy.
Oh,
now.
that was your mom. Your mom. So where does Butt come from? Is that German or Scandinavian, or what name? Where does Butt actually arrive from?
But German. Grandma
German?
and Grandpa were both. Grandma was Harnischberger. Grandpa was Butt. They met in New York at a what was the old military where they had the dances and stuff. I can't think of it's an acronym, but they met up there in New York before World War II, and Grandpa went to Iwo Jima, came back, and he was a pharmacist. And what do? You open up Butt Drugs in Corden, Indiana.
Wow, that's a long story. My mom's brother, Vaughn, he was in Iwo Jima too.
Really?
And oh my God, I messed up. I had no idea how bad that blood was. He's passed on now. My mom's 76, and he died a couple of years ago, I think at 78, and I got out of dental school, and I bought my first, I bought a Subaru, and I went over to my uncle's house, and was all excited to see him, and he walked out there and saw that Japanese car. Oh my God, he just he lost it. I had to drive it a block down and walk back. He didn't want him or any of his neighbors to see that in the car.
Wow.
That was a tough war. Yeah, so he was on a supply trip, and every day they'd run supplies to the shore, and every day about 1 in 10 of those supply boats would get blown out of the water.
Wow.
So when you do that for a year, you're fried.
Yeah.
So your dad's a dentist.
Still practicing.
Still practicing in Floyd Knobs?
New Albany, Indiana, right down the road. These are all little cities.
New Albany, and that's where Woody Oaks is, of the Profile Dentist.
I could throw a rock and hit Woody.
And then you're right next to Louisville, which is Kentucky.
Correct.
So that area is almost Kentucky.
We've got 5 bridges that connect right across the Ohio River. We're all Metro Louisville is what it's considered.
So what I want to ask you, and I want to have you on, is now that I'm the old guy, now I'm the 52-year-old, and you're the young, fresh 30-year-old, what is, like when I got out of school, the newest, hottest, most controversial, craziest things you could do is a full page on the Yellow Pages, do those white fillings, those tooth-colored fillings, when all the good doctors did amalgam and gold, tooth whitening. All you heard from the 50-year-old guys is, there's not a shred of research on that. How can you have a 5-year study on something that just came out of a box? The only research done on that, and here we had an ad in the Yellow Pages, we were bleaching teeth, we were doing cosmetic fillings. The older people thought we all needed to be spanked and had our license taken away and thrown out of the country.
My dad's got a little framed picture on the wall. He was an advertiser straight out of school. He was the only guy in the market.
Now, how old's your dad? What year did he graduate?
He was born in '55. He graduated in '80. Graduated in '80. Opened up shop in '81.
Okay.
So he'll be 60 this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So a couple years older than you.
Yeah.
He's got a framed picture on the wall from the big 4 dentists in town that said, and I don't remember the exact words, but it was, "We see you've opened up shop. We see your advertising. You're not welcome at the events here locally." and he thought it was a nice letter, so he framed it and he hung it on his wall, and it's still there today. So yeah,
I can still remember when I did my first direct mail piece.
Yeah.
2 of the dentists in my zip code walked in my office and asked for me and handed it to me and said, "Don't ever mail this to my house again." And I was like, "Oh my God!"
Wow.
And that was so crazy. It was so small thinking because the other dentists, it was like when I opened up my practice, like half the dentists wanted to be your friend and colleague, and the other half were just going to be your competitors and crazy. And the other half, they would always say, "Oh, when you did your 2-page newsletter on sealants, oh my God, we've been doing sealants all week." Because you're building demand for everyone. I mean, you mail a flyer to everybody in town explaining bleaching, bonding, veneers, implants, snore guards, sleep apnea, anything.
Yep.
You raise the education of the whole community.
The tide.
And it lifts all the dentists there. So, yeah, that's crazy. And that's a neat phenomenon why one of the reasons Dental Town was so successful is because a dentist wouldn't talk to the other 4 dentists in the medical dental building. Those were just sworn enemy competitors.
Yeah.
But if you got on Dental Town and some dentist was 1,000 miles away, now I can put my guard down and be your buddy.
Yep.
So
A
that's
lot of good
crazy
swaps of
deal.
information.
So what is the young hot stuff now? What is what's new? I mean the biggest thing obviously is this thing, which I never saw until I was 35 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole market's moving from a yellow pages to this. This is an amazing device.
Yeah. The interesting thing about mobile phones, I think you say what's the newest thing? Not necessarily what's the newest gadget out there, but where are patients looking right now? I mean, Yellow Pages was hot stuff, and there's still a few doctors here and there that have results from the Yellow Pages, but by and large, nobody looks at it. They pull these phones up when they want to search for something. And you got to look at how people make decisions. Let's go back 10 years. Let's go to 2005. 2005, we had mobile phones, we had cell phones, but you had to call 411 if you wanted to look up some information. There was no internet. There was no 4G data access.
So it was a cell phone, not a smartphone.
Exactly.
Because smart means when the internet came to
Exactly.
the phone.
So even going back 10 years in marketing history, you had no video online. You had no cell phone, mobile phones, smartphones. You had no phone call tracking, autoresponders. It was basically a brochure online. You look at today, it's an interactive experience. People can pull up their phone and access any information in the world with a few clicks, or not even a few clicks. You talk into it, and Siri tells you back whatever you want. So what's the newest thing in dentistry? In my opinion, you've got to deliver the wow experience before patients get into your office. I know you're big on, calling patients by name and walking out and greeting them and introducing them and personal human relationship skills. But patients in today's world, they don't have to come into your office to get a feel for that experience anymore. They can read your reviews online. Reviews didn't exist 10 years ago. I mean, a little bit, but the adoption rates 10 years ago were minuscule. Local directories didn't exist a decade ago. So all of this has...
Explain to the viewers what a local directory means. I think a lot of people don't know what that is.
Sure. So local directories are just think Yellow Pages, but online. You've got your Yelp, your Yellow Pages, City Pages, things like Foursquare, Facebook even. Facebook has business pages, an address for every business out there. Same as Google. Google has a business directory that you can look up, and they've got a page, just like in the Yellow Pages. You have a listing for every business that's out there. So patients can do anything they want online these days. They don't necessarily have to come into your office to get that wow experience. It's more, the studies that I see, it's all about validation these days. They look you up online, they make their decision, then they come into your office and they validate who you are. But they've already made the decision to come in, whereas 10 years ago, they couldn't really find out much about you.
And you know what? Another thing about that wow experience. One thing that I wanted to ask you about today is, so my close friends back home in Phoenix, the ones that I intimately know well, and that they think like they're an implant dentist, or this one thinks he's a cosmetic dentist.
Yeah.
But you go to their website and you would never know that about that person. And I've asked a lot of my friends, like I say, like, you're in a small town. Why don't you have a staff meeting where You all get around a PC and you pull up everyone's website in your town, and there's only 8 dentists. You'll find like 2 don't even have one, and it's amazing because everybody says the same thing. Like they'll say like, well, yeah, Frank's he's really good in placing implants or whatever, and you'd never know that from his website. And then they start realizing, wow, our website doesn't really reflect the wow of who we are.
A lot of dentists I find get so focused on the procedures that they offer that they never really build themselves up as the expert of anything. They talk about implants and dentures and crowns and bridges and veneers and sealants and all these things that they offer. But, imagine you have a heart attack, right? You got to go to your cardiologist. You got to get a quadruple bypass, or you have to have a stent put in. You're not going to ask the cardiologist what brand of stent, or you're not going to ask him what kind of catheter they're going to use to, check out your heart. Imagine a pipe in your practice or your home bust. Water's pouring out of the ceiling. You call the plumber, right? You call Joe up and you say, Joe, you got to come out here and fix my plumbing. There's water pouring out everywhere. If Joe responded to you with, well, do I need to bring out a PVC fitting or an NPT fitting or a pipe thread or a PEX fitting, you'd probably hang up on him and call somebody else. And, dentists love dentistry. They wouldn't have become dentists. And a lot of dental marketing is more attuned to attracting other dentists than it is patients. It's all about the procedures and the things that you do. It's like the pipe fittings. It's like getting into the cardiologist. You go look at cardiologist web forums, the equivalent of Dentaltown, and they're talking about all those things, the new shiny objects. But patients just want to know that they're going to live. People just want the water to stop ruining their house. And that's the same thing dental patients want, is they want the pain to stop. They want confidence back. They want to be able to eat and chew the foods they love again. They don't want to carry their teeth around in their pocket anymore. Whatever their pain is. You've got to market to their perceived problem, not the procedures or what you perceive their problems to be. I mean, you might have a patient walk in that their mouth they got yellow teeth and they're crooked and stained, and they go, I think my smile's just fine. And it doesn't bother them. They don't care. But, they got this pain back here and they want you to fix that. Well, that's their perceived problem. So you've got to talk to people in their language. You talk to people in their language and address their needs, they'll let you do the work. But people don't care about what you do. Fred Joyle had a great quote. Patients don't care about you until they know you care about them. And if your message resonates with them, they know that you understand their problems, and it's all the warm fuzzy stuff. I mean, that's kind of sarcastic to say, but it's true. It's they want to know you care about them and genuinely care, not just superficially to get them in the office.
And people like they don't want to reach out and shake their hand or whatever, but then when you take away a human and they walk up to a dog, first thing you do is, hey doggy, and they scratch up the deal, and we're humans.
Have you seen Cialdini's studies on? He went to a university and he tested people that entered into a negotiation, and at the end of the negotiation, one group would shake hands and the other group would not shake hands, and they measured the success of the outcomes of those negotiations based only on the difference of them not consummating the negotiation by shaking hands. It's all human touch. It's personal skills. It's personal relationships. And that's what dentistry is. I mean, when was the last time you heard a patient come in, man, Dr. Farran, I think you're just a prick, but I'm going to come in here and let you be my dentist. I mean, it doesn't happen. Yeah. People do business with people they like. Know, like, and trust. And you get people to know, like, and trust you, and that's it. I mean, that's what it is. It's dentistry's trust-based. They want to know that you're the guy. Everybody has their guy. You got a carpenter, you got a plumber, you got a personal trainer. You call them, they're your guy, right? You got a general contractor when you have a big problem, but they're looking for their guy, their dentist. When they find that guy, they're just going to go in and say, fix me, doc. Fix me. I don't care what it is. I don't want to know what you do. Just make my problem go away.
And it's interesting you said I wouldn't want every time I go get my goatee trimmed to be try to sold that I need hair implants or a wig. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to, every time, so a lot of times with what I see in getting a lot of dentistry done is is you got to listen to what they want, and you got to just keep offering more and more and more services because when I look at the offices doing $1.5 million a year in dentistry, they're presenting $3 for every one they're doing.
Yep.
So if you're doing $1 million practice, you're presenting $3 million. And they're buying about a third of what you offer. So it's just laying it out there, being the guy. But you're right. It all comes with trust. So first of all, so my viewers out there, and they're all around the world, and I'm telling you that the internet speed in Ethiopia and Tanzania is not like it is in Phoenix. So there's all a different experience out there. But why don't you give us a state of the Union of American dentist websites? What percent of the dentists would you think have a website? What percent of them are doing on a smartphone, mobile? To tell us the state of the union and how you recommend. So this girl out there knows where she stands. And start giving them low hanging fruit of how they could raise their bar to be the. I know everybody talks about search engine optimization. So if I'm in Floyd Knobs, Indiana, and I type in Sari, find me a dentist in Floyd Knobs, Indiana. How am I going to go find you and your dad versus someone else?
There's a couple things that there's let's say two main points that I'll hit on with that question. The first is that what people search for is not necessarily the most logical or what you think. I mean, I see dentists every day that have 100 first page rankings. They got all these first page rankings, this great organic search presence. And then you look at the patients coming from the internet, the patients calling on the phone tracking numbers, and there's 0 or 2, or 5, nothing coming from it. And it's like doing a TV spot or a radio spot or a newspaper with a circulation of 0. Just because you're number 1 for a keyword doesn't mean anybody's actually finding your website. Doesn't mean anybody's searching for the keyword that you're number 1 for. And you've got to figure out, and there's plenty of tools out there that's available. This isn't like hocus pocus science. There's Google Sandbox, there's Word Tracker, there's SpyFu, there's all these tools, a lot of them free, or they have a free version that you can play with. Figure out what people are actually searching for. It's not optimization so much as figuring out what consumers want. One big faux pas I see all the time is dentists that optimize for, what's your zip code here in Phoenix?
85044.
Okay, so I see dentists that optimize for dental implant 85044. I've never seen a patient search for a zip code. I mean, I've looked at thousands of markets, and you can, geo-target based on a zip code, but the patients aren't typing in a zip code in their search.
Okay, so how does a dentist know? So talk about the specifics. What's the software that you do to know what your patients were searching when they landed on your dental office website? How does that work?
Well, you look up what people are searching for in your area. Google provides that information if you look in the right place.
Okay, how do we do that?
AdWords Sandbox. It's a free tool from Google.
AdWords Sandbox.
You can plug in there and look
Is
at what...
Is that a service you buy, or?
It's a free service. Yep.
So AdWords Sandbox, you just go to Google, type in AdWords Sandbox, then what would happen?
You'll see their Sandbox will pop up, number 1, click on it, and go in there, and you can drive down into specific market areas and what people are actually searching for in your region or in specific regions.
Okay, so I can find out what the people in 85044 are searching for?
Exactly.
And now can I ask them what the people were searching for that landed on my todaysdental.com?
Sure. That kind of information would be available through your pay-per-click side or your Google Webmaster Tools. Interesting changes with keyword data is Google's not providing a lot of that anymore organically for free. The privacy advocates had a lot to do with that. They don't want people knowing what you're searching for. It's this new privacy push that has a lot of people on board with it. So they started this change in 2011, 2012, and as of last year, if you go into your Google Analytics and you look at the keywords, right, in your keyword list, 80 to 99% are going to say not provided. Google's not giving you, they're not telling you what people are searching for anymore unless you pay them for it. Unless you go into pay-per-click, start paying them for their AdWords. So they're moving in this kind of a omnipotent position, I call it, where Google is. Their algorithm's getting so sophisticated that they're getting to the point that they're saying, we know who you are, we know what you do. This searcher over here, we know what they searched for previously, we know where they're located, we know who they're friends with. They have this whole demographic built on people searching, and they know everything about you from spidering, from crawling your website. We'll figure it out from here, guys. We don't need you to optimize for these keywords. It's not the keywords, it's search intent. It's the buzzword is Web 3.0. It's a semantic web that it's more than just the words you search for. It's the meaning behind it. And Google's got the kind of data that they can start to put that together from, who you're friends with and what you've been searching for, where you're located, figuring all this out.
Okay, so I'm gonna pin you down. So if mom is in now I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. But what I've noticed in all the cities over 1 million is that no one says they live in Phoenix, Arizona. Like in my area, everyone says they live in Ahwatukee. It's Phoenix, Arizona, but the neighborhood's Ahwatukee. And other sections of town call themselves names. Very seldom or they'll even say like I live in South Phoenix. And there's no difference in that Phoenix and my Phoenix. So we call ours Ahwatukee. So I'm a mom, and I'm in Ahwatukee. And so, how do you think she's going to search for? And she wants to find a dentist. Do you think she's going to search Siri voice? Do you think she's going to go to Google, type in Ahwatukee dentist? What do you think she's going to do? And then how can I have a better chance that she lands on my website than the other 40 dentists on the corner?
So let's take Louisville market, for instance, where I'm from, Louisville, Kentucky.
You're saying they have phones now in Louisville?
They do have phones, yes. We do have those in Kentucky. I'm not actually from Kentucky. I'm from Indiana.
Now, I spent, my dad had 5 Sonic drive-ins in Wichita, Kansas. And in my 4 summers of high school, I was on the opening crew to open a Sonic in Kearney, Nebraska, Abilene, Kansas, Childress, Texas, and Louisville, Kentucky.
I didn't know that.
So I spent a summer, it was one of the most fun summers I ever had because, you're away from mom and dad and you go to another city and stay in a hotel with dad's car and keys for 3 months. Oh my God, that was a blast. Only time in my life I ever got shot at.
Shot at?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know why?
What'd you do?
I was driving, my dad had this big old Lincoln Town Car, and I was driving out there, and I had, growing up in Kansas, you only saw wheat, and mostly just wheat, soybean, occasional corn as you got closer to Nebraska. But there's this huge tobacco field, and I wanted to pull some plants and throw them in the trunk, take them home to show all my friends a tobacco plant. Man, you do not climb over a fence.
Do not steal somebody's
tobacco.
tobacco.
Peeling tobacco. I was probably, 15, 16, and all of a sudden I heard a ping, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And then another one, ping, and I thought, and then I saw this shack, and then I go, oh my God, there's a guy in the middle of that field shooting at me. And I was still so dumb, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
I need to move.
Pulling this
Time to go.
I jumped in the car and ran out. Then when I got back home, everybody that saw me was like, "Oh my God, you can't do that." But in Kansas, if you stopped and pulled, some ears of corn off a cornfield,
it was okay. Yeah.
Hell, it was totally cool.
Yeah.
But not tobacco.
Not tobacco. No, don't steal.
So sorry, I got on that tangent. But how do we? So back. How is mom? In Ahwatukee, or so you're going to give the example Louisville.
Yeah.
What do you think the average mom in Louisville is going to do?
You look at southern Indiana, and southern Indiana is a metro Louisville. New Albany, Floyd Knobs, Jeffersonville, Clarksville, Cordon, those areas are just little cities right across from the river from Louisville, Kentucky. And people primarily search by city names there. Yeah. You see a little bit of county names being searched for. Floyd County, Clark County, Harrison County. You go across the river to Louisville, which is a bigger city.
That's a big city.
Yeah, it's a pretty good sized city. Yeah.
Is it 1 million?
Over 1 million, I'd say. Yeah. Metro. People start searching by areas, the Highlands, Dixie Highway, Mount Washington, different areas like that. So people want to be very specific. And look at the research. Google says that people revise their search 4 to 6 times before they decide on a search result. So you take a mom.
Can you explain what that means?
Yeah. So you take a mom that's looking for a dentist. They're looking for Dr. Farran in Phoenix, or they don't know yet that they're looking for you. They might search for Phoenix dentist. And they look through the results and they go, man, I really don't want to drive all the way across Phoenix. I'm in East and he's in the West. So they go back and they revise and they search South Phoenix or North Phoenix or Ahwatukee. And then they go, I don't just want an Ahwatukee dentist. I want an Ahwatukee dentist that sees kids. And they look at the results. And then they go, it'd be nice if I didn't just have a dentist that saw kids, but I want somebody that specializes. Ahwatukee dentist, pediatric dentistry. And that's where you've heard the term long tail keywords before. Mm-hmm. That's where you get that from. It's human psychology. People revise their search, and the Google data, the stuff Google tells us backs it up. 4 to 6 times, they're going to go back and revise their search until they get the results they want, and then they go down through the list and they click on a couple. That's where the long tail keyword comes from. So that's where your calls are going to come from. So, you can optimize for Phoenix dentist, but realize that when you optimize for that, you're going to have a lot of people that aren't interested in your site because just geography, they might be 45 minutes across town, and they're never going to drive 45 minutes or an hour to come see you.
Now, what does your company do for dentists? What do you actually do? You try to optimize their. Mm-hmm. Is that your key? Optimizing their websites so for search or mobile or.
Our focus is on keeping the dentist doing dentistry. We do everything from, we talk about the 4 pillars of marketing, from your visibility, SEO, pay-per-click, blogs, articles, press releases. We've got a writing team that writes unique, fresh content for all of our clients ongoing.
In Floyd Knobs?
In New Albany, right down the road.
Oh, you're in New Albany?
I am. Yeah, I'm right down the road from Woody.
Oh, okay, so you're in New Albany.
Yeah.
So you build their website?
We build the websites.
And host it?
We host it. We write the content fresh and unique. We've got an in-house video team that can travel to your office. We've also got a studio that we have a lot of dentists fly into. Shoot video testimonials, patients, doctors.
Now, is this stuff for their website?
Use it for anything. I mean, it's all shot in high def. We're web marketers, so we use it on their social media. We use it on their websites. Doing a lot of video emails right now where you have automatic communication systems that you can drip market to people. Keep your name in front of them. Well, stick a video in it. Like your video podcast that you're doing here. Mm-hmm. You're dripping video content onto people, whether you pre-record it and you do a pre-recorded series, or it's kind of live like we do today.
Now, do you offer your services cafeteria price, style, whatever, or is it a one price whole thing?
We do some a la carte, and then we also have our turnkey packages that, what I say takes us, the dentist from zero to hero.
Zero to hero. I like that. And what is that? And how much does something like that cost?
Just depends on the market area. Some dentists are super aggressive marketers. They want us to come out and do a week-long video shoot and produce 200 videos, big market areas. Some dentists we work with new practices that are just starting up, and of course their budgets and their focus is a lot more limited and specific than, a big $10 million practice.
Okay, so walk through those pillars again, because, okay, so first let's talk a website. There's 120,000 general dentists in America, 30,000 specialists. So there's 150,000. Mm-hmm. What percent of those do you think already have a website?
Not enough.
But I mean, do you think it's...
Percentage? I would say if you looked at a sheer percentage that have a website, you would probably be up in the 75% range. But how many of those websites actually meet any kind of current standards or have anything that is, let's draw the line at 5 years old, which I think is way too old already for a website. I think most dentists have something, but maybe they got it in 1995, and then they just carried it forward.
Hey, I'm telling you, I'm always talking to a dentist on Dental Town or whatever, and I'll go to their name and I'll drop it in Google to find out, where does this guy live?
Absolutely.
And I'm amazed at how many of them, nothing comes up.
Yep.
Or whatever. If they got a website, mm-hmm. How many of those now come up and work, show up good on the Droid and the iPhone? Would you say?
Very,
so you
very
said
few.
3 out of 4 dentists probably have a website.
Mm-hmm.
And so go back, what number of those websites would be optimized for an iPhone and a Android?
So Google has a big push this year. Every year Google's kind of had their different focus that they go to, and they've declared 2015 the year of mobile. Actually, here in just a few days, April 21st is Google's deadline to have a mobile website. And they've released a program. If you go to Google and search for mobile check my website, you can plug your URL in there, your website, and see if your website is mobile friendly.
Wow, what is that called? Are you writing this down, John?
Google.
Write down and the other thing, the sandbox. What was the other thing? The
AdWords Sandbox.
AdWords Sandbox.
Yep.
Will you do that for me, John?
So April 21st.
So what was that URL again? Tell them to go
to Google and just search for mobile website check Google. And I don't know what the exact URL is, but it'll pop up right there.
And it'll tell you if it's mobile friendly or not.
It'll tell you if your website's mobile friendly. So how many dentists have a mobile friendly website? I'd say less than 10%.
Right.
Very, very few, because
And would that be more likely to be less mobile friendly on Android, Samsung, or Apple? Or would it not matter?
I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot if it's the way, without getting into techno jargon too much, the way the sites work in a mobile environment is not going to differ drastically. There might be some little usability differences, but by and large, if it's mobile friendly across the board. If it's not, it's not.
Do you think Dentaltown made a bad decision when we only have so many programmers? So we wrote the Dentaltown app for iOS and Android, but we didn't do BlackBerry. Do you think that was leaving a lot of dentists out there on BlackBerry, or do you think that was an okay business decision?
I think it was a good business decision.
Really?
I think that, I mean, you've got to put your resources, as with any business, dentist or dental town, you've got to put your resources where you can make the biggest impact. And not having it on BlackBerry, well, look at the numbers. Android, the platform from Android is huge. It's surprised Apple at how fast it's taken off, but Apple's still the dominant player in the mobile market.
Is it really?
Last statistics I saw, they were. Now they've been sweating.
So your prediction is not good for BlackBerry then? It's kind of.
They've been. I mean, I was an early BlackBerry adopter. I had the 7000s and the 8000 series. The old scroll wheels on the side. Loved them, but they just didn't stay with the times. I mean, I sweated bullets when I got my first touchscreen. I thought it'd be horrible, and the first ones probably were horrible, but now they're so good. I'd love to see them make a resurgence and really do something, but their focus right now is on corporate environments. They've gone through some mergers and acquisitions, and it's turmoil.
Okay,
I don't know where they're going to come out in the market.
So back to zero to hero with your one company. And what's the name of your company?
Smartbox.
Smartbox, and so it's smartbox.com?
Smartboxwebmarketing.com.
Smartboxwebmarketing.com. So let's say you're the 3 out of the 4 dentists that has a website, and he calls you up, and he's not one of the 5% that's mobile friendly. What do you first got to do for this doc? What are you going to try to do?
First step is to help him understand what's going on. Where is his website deficient? Because everybody's in different places. Everybody's done different things. Everybody has, different iterations of a website or different generations, so to speak. First step is just to figure out where he's at. Hey, here's your website. Here's what you've got. Here's what we can use, or here's what we can't use. Here's where you need to get to over here. Once you know where you're at and where you need to get to, you draw the line to connect them.
Is one of the problems still old Flash stuff that doesn't show up on Apple, is it?
Yeah,
Is
Flash
that
is
still
horrible.
An issue?
Yeah,
So
Apple
you
doesn't
only
read
have
it.
Flash?
Yeah, Google doesn't read it.
So what percent of the, I have heard, and this is not my expertise, but I have heard that if you have a dental website and you don't have a regularly uploading content, whether it be a video you take with your iPhone and upload it on YouTube, or a video, or a blog, that if Google sees that you bought a website 5 years ago and nothing's been done to it for 5 years, but this person's searching for a dentist in Ahwatukee, and the dentist across the street, their website is alive because every week or month you're adding a blog or a video or something, that Google's always going to point them that way. Is that a true assessment?
If you look at what they've done with their recent updates, hummingbird, penguin, panda, and I don't know why they name them all after zoo animals. Your guess is as good as mine, but they do. If you look at what they've done, they don't want stale websites. They want fresh, unique content. Unique is key. You can't have template cookie cutter content. And if you don't know if you have duplicate content or cookie cutter stuff, copyscape.com, COPYSCAPE.com, you can go there, plug in your URL, And that program will tell you if somebody's stolen your content, if you stole somebody else's content, or maybe your web developer just sold the same content to 1,000 websites out there. You can find out very easily.
You know, you're going to have to summarize this all in an article. Would you do that for me on the magazine?
Love to.
Yeah, and what would be awesome is this is a lot of these are a lot of step checks that and once again, Doc, be honest with yourself. If none of this interests you, this is why you have an office manager. Somebody in your office has got to own this website, because how they're coming in on their smartphone now. New patient flow equals cash flow, and if you just want to keep going to implant courses and learn bone grafting, and you're just in search of the ultimate CBCT, and none of this is interesting you, you're not going to have the patience to do implants. You got to learn all this stuff. So when you were saying the pillars, you said there were 4, but I thought you named 5. You said website.
Visibility's first.
Visibility. So you're talking about the physical bricks and mortar location.
No, your visibility online.
Okay, so you're talking about
SEO, pay-per-click, things that get you seen.
Pay-per-click. Okay, talk pay-per-click. So are you recommending these dentists buy Google ads or the Facebook ads?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's a few very cool things, and there's a few things that aren't known with Google AdWords. For instance, a lot of dentists don't realize that you have to optimize your website for pay-per-click just as you do for SEO. And I'll send you the exact formula on it. It's what's called quality score. Quality score is Google's way of keeping people from selling chainsaws to people searching for a dentist or anything that's unrelated. So Google has a 1 to 10 number quality score. And depending on what keyword you're bidding on and what Google assesses the page that you're going to direct them to, they give you a 1 to 10 number. And that 1 to 10 number is a factor, a direct factor, in how much you pay for that click. So I can show you...
So not all clicks cost the same amount of money?
Absolutely not.
Really?
I can show you real-world examples of a doctor in the number 1 position on pay-per-click that's paying 5-fold less than the guy in a number 4 or number 5 position, because the guy down the list has a 1 or a 2 quality score. Because his website, the biggest thing I tell docs about pay-per-click is if the guy doing your pay-per-click doesn't have access or isn't modifying your website, your quality score probably sucks. Because that's how you fix quality score, is you optimize the website to fit the pay-per-click campaign you're running. Or you change the pay-per-click to fit the landing page. Whichever way, you got to change one of them to make it balance out.
Okay, so start now talking to this dentist who's never ever bought a Google AdWord or Facebook. And first start, what would you recommend first if he's only gonna do one? Would you recommend she does a Facebook ad or a Google click ad?
Facebook has some awesome advantages. Facebook has a lot more demographical information. So let's say you've got a list of patients that haven't been in your office in 12 months. They're dead. You need to reactivate them. You need to recall them. You can take that list of patients, their names, give it to Facebook, and send ads specifically to those people through Facebook. So that's one really cool thing that you can retarget, so to speak, people through Facebook. And if you can segment it any way you want. You could take a list of over 12 months that haven't come in for a cleaning. You could take people that came in but didn't accept treatment. You presented to but didn't accept. You could take a list of patients that maybe came in and had Invisalign or implant work, and you want to deliver kind of a post-op
now
referral
you do this
sequence.
all ATM style on the Facebook page. You're not going to deal with a human, I take it. Or are you going to deal with a Facebook? I mean, you're not going to talk to anybody at Facebook. This is all automatic.
Oh, it's all through their web interface. Yeah,
it's all through their web.
The buzzword on Facebook is what's called custom audiences. You can build your audience on Facebook based on your list. So you take a spreadsheet, put all the names, export your list of patients right out of your EagleSoft or Dentrix that have not come into your office or whatever criteria you want. Upload that spreadsheet into Facebook, and then you can send ads specifically to those people. It's very, very cool. You can't do that on Google. Now, you can retarget on Google, where if somebody comes to your website, you can continue to follow them around and show more ads. But being able to target specific people, Joe and Jane Smith, with a specific ad on Facebook, is something we found to be very, very strong.
And then now on Facebook, is that a cost per click, or is that something that you do a monthly budget, or how does the money on that work?
Both. It is cost per click. Generally, Facebook is a lot cheaper than Google cost per click, a lot less competition. Both pay-per-click platforms are bid-based. It's a bidding war. Guy that bids the most gets to the top position.
On Google?
On Google and Facebook.
Google and Facebook.
Yep.
Okay, and now that you're talking about Facebook, if you're going to do Facebook, is it worth the dentist time to also do Google Plus, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram? Is there any other social media that's worth your time and effort to specifically do dentist offices where? Do you agree with the assessment that you're basically targeting a mom?
Agreed. Yes.
Agreed. Okay. So is it worth, if you're doing all this stuff on Facebook, do you recommend also doing it on any other social media sites?
Well, let's set the paid stuff on Facebook aside. Let's put that in its own container. Doing organic posts, posting status updates and tweets, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, all that stuff. I'm not a big proponent of it because you might have some existing patients that you can recall, reactivate through that, but you're not going to find new patients. I mean, people that aren't yet your patients, they have a problem. They're not going to go to Pinterest to find their dentist. They're not going to go to Facebook or Twitter to find their dentist. They're going to go to Google or Bing or the Yellow Pages, somewhere that they can look for a person that can solve their problem. Social networks are great to connect with people, keep relationships going. I think they're an integral part in an internal marketing campaign, but we're external marketing guys. So we focus on where we can find the new blood, the new patients that are searching.
And your number one go-to would be a Facebook pay-per-click ad?
Not number one. I would say that it's a piece of the puzzle.
What would be your number one?
I wouldn't say there's any number one. I would say the number one thing to do is make sure you've got visibility everywhere. Make sure you've got organic. You got pay-per-click. You got Facebook ads. You got AdWords. You've got local search. You're showing up in the maps. You've got good reviews online. Dominate the listings. Don't try to put all your eggs in one basket. Don't try to do one thing online, because as soon as you do that, people change. How they search change. What Google does change. I've seen too many dentists that have put all their eggs into one basket. Google makes one little change and poof. Plus, everybody looks in different places. I talk to dentists all the time that say, I don't know anybody that clicks on those paid ads. Nobody clicks on those Google ads. Well, Google doesn't have $100 billion in cash sitting around because nobody clicks on those paid ads. That's their cash cow. That everybody clicks on the ads. So, we find that 40 to 60% of new patients come organically. 20 to 40% come from paid ads. The rest are going to come from local listings, press releases, other properties out there that you can leverage and optimize or be seen on.
So when someone says to a dentist, your website, which you bought 15 years ago at a convention, it's not mobile friendly. Explain to Doc what that means.
If you pull up your website on a mobile phone and you can't read it, you can't use it, you can't click on the phone number to call. If you can't click on the phone number to call, realize that person is going to have to grab a pencil, write down your phone number, back out of their phone, type the phone number back in, and then call you. Now, that seems simple, but how many people have a pencil or are going to do that? They see a website that isn't mobile friendly. The text is this small. If the text was this small on your phone, could you read it?
I'm 52, so I'm a cripple without my readers.
Yep.
Ever since 45.
Yeah.
I always have to have my readers, and so I'm spoiled. When I'm on my iPhone, to hit a phone number and its calls is so sweet.
Yeah.
But what I like more is to hit the address, and
That maps
now
it.
I'm in audio voice MapQuest, and in 300 feet you're going to turn right on 48th Street. I love that. You just pull right up to the business. And I'm thinking, how many patients come into a dental office 10 minutes late for a cleaning?
Because they can't figure out where it's at.
Yeah, and the hygienist hates that because they barely get it all done in 1 hour.
It's all about just giving people what they want. You have consumer hours in your practice, right? You
Yeah.
have, you do things the consumer wants in your practice. You cater to them. And this isn't rocket science. This isn't like new shiny objects. This is just what consumers want. You've got to remove yourself, and in the online marketing world, there's an unlimited number of puzzle pieces. Everybody's trying to sell you the new shiny object, the new gadget, the new gizmo that's going to yield you all these new patients. But you got to think about just the consumer. What does the consumer want? Well, they want mobile access. They love video. Look at what Amazon has said about how much their sales go through the roof when they put video on one of the products they're selling. Look what the real estate industry, the car industry has done with videos on their websites. People want video. A cool statistic that came out a couple years ago, Forrester Research did a study and found that websites with video are 53 times more likely to have a first page ranking on Google.
I'm writing this down now, and I'm doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Another thing I like about the video is I've seen it several times where this is done for a doctor, this is done for a restaurant. We were thinking about trying to find a place to get all the kids for dinner or whatever, and went to this one website and it was a restaurant about 40 minutes away from where we all live, but we've heard it was kind of a fun place, and I hit that video, and the owner is like this 50-year-old lady, and she's like, "Hey, welcome here," and she's walking me through the kitchen and waving the deal and showing the amenities, and it was only like about a 1-minute video, but when I was done, it's like, you want to go there? I want to go there.
Yeah.
And so I immediately hit the forward scroll deal, and then I prompt, E for Eric, and then I see a group text to all my kids, and I say, "Hey, this place sounds fun," and 2 seconds later, like, "Oh yeah, let's all go."
Schedule it.
And we're all gonna, and that video just clinched it.
Video is humanizing. Everybody does business with people they like. It's Cialdini. It's the principle of likability.
Yeah.
You're not going to do business with somebody you don't like. And the other Cialdini principle is social proof. People don't want to hear you talk about how great you are. But when other people point the finger at you, that carries a lot of weight. It's social proof. We can all say great things about ourselves, but when other people are going, "Man, that Today's Dental, those guys are awesome," it's the recommendation, it's the personal referral. But you don't even have to know the person. Just any recommendation that looks sincere and is structured, what I call the reverse testimonial, right? Not just saying, "Oh, Dr. Farran, he's so great, he's so nice, he takes care of it," but structure your testimonials to start out with the problem. That patient that has their dentures, get them to say, not "Dr. Farran fixed my denture problems." Get them to say, "When I came to see Dr. Farran, my loose sore dentures were driving me crazy. I had to take them out at night and put them in the glass. I had to carry them around in my pocket. I had to take them out when I ate food. Now he's fixed it. Dr. Farran's so great. I like him so much." People resonate with the problem. It's like you're driving down the interstate and the police are on the side of the road. Those red and blue lights, they grab your attention pretty fast. If the lights aren't on, they don't grab your attention. It's the problem. We're attracted to problems as humans. And if you lead with the problem, don't talk about your procedure, talk about the problem they're experiencing. It resonates with them. They connect with it. Now they know you're speaking to them. And when they know you're speaking to them, now they're listening.
So, I'm trying to think of what else. What other, what would you say to a dentist if he just said, "Look, I just need more new patients." I mean, that the bottom line is new patient flow is cash flow. There's a lot of dentists out there that said, if I could just have 10 or 15 or 20 more new patients a month, I'd be a happy camper. I could solve all my problems.
Absolutely.
So what would you tell a dentist just said, "Dude, look, I just want 15. Well, first of all, what's realistic for him to ask for? Like if someone called you, what is that so dependent on the market and the place or whatever?
I mean, we work with new practices. We work with $1 million and $3 million and $10 million practices. And the analogy I give is, okay, take a $10 million practice and a $1 million practice. Side by side, same market area, theoretically. Most practice consultants are going to come in and say, spend 4 to 6%, 3 to 5%, 5 to 7%, whatever the number is, spend it on your marketing, right? So the $10 million practice spends 5%. They spend $500,000 a year. The $1 million practice spends 5%. They spend $50,000 a year. They both grow by 30% next year. What's the difference? Well, the $10 million practice has the systems in place and they have the cash flow to do a boatload more marketing. So marketing drives patients. And once you have the internal systems and the resources to handle that flow, it's just a matter of getting.
So what do you think the average office does, though? You said 1 million and 10 million. Those are extreme outliers. What do you think the average practice collects in America?
Oh, I would say under $1 million, probably. $1 million?
$500,000.
$500,000? Wow.
So if that dentist, if the average Joe, Dick, and Harry called you up and said, I do $500,000 a year and I want 10 or 20 new patients more a month, that would be awesome. In 2 minutes, tell them what you would do.
First thing I want to do is ask them what kind of patients. There's a lot of different kinds of patients out there. There's Medicaid patients. There's patients that are just general bread and butters. And then there's niche boutique practices. They want specific types of patients. Maybe they're specialists, maybe they're not. My dad only does implant work. He's got his IV certificate. He's been over to the Malo Institute. That's all he does, but he's a general practitioner. First things, find out what they want, not just in terms of new patients, but what kind of patients. Then let's look at their market area. Look at demographics. Look at how much competition they have to overcome. Look at what their goals are. Some dentists call up and they're like, man, I'm going to sell out. I'm going to transition in 5 years. All I need to do is maintain. Just grow a little bit would be nice. Other guys, I got a doctor up in Oregon, Raleigh Peoc. He calls me up. He just sold his practice for $3.2 million. He wants to open 10 more practices in the next 10 years. He's going gangbusters. He's a go-getter. He was a football player. He's just a bull mentality. And he is a marketing machine. And he's got the systems, he's got the processes, and he's super aggressive. So, he wants to grow like this, exponential growth. Some guys just want to take incremental, and some guys just want to hold where they're at because they're on the way out. They're ready to retire. Then, they've worked for 30 or 40 years. So figuring out what that takes, where they're at in their practice, in their life. Some guys come to me and they say, Colin, I don't want more patients, I want more free time. How do I get more free time and produce the same? And putting together a package, a system, a marketing system that's going to let them have what they want. That's just the key at it all, to meet them with their needs.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with me. Did you say I have 2 minutes left? Yep. Oh, my clock says 52 minutes.
52 left.
No, it's been 52 minutes. Are you going for 60 minutes, or we need to speed up?
60 is great, yeah.
I think the camera might have run it for a few minutes before we started.
Right.
I don't know, maybe not. Yeah.
Okay, so we're good. Okay, well, hey, on that note, sorry I messed up that close. Colin Receveur, thank you so much for spending an hour with me. Thank you for speaking at
Thanks
Townie
for having
meeting.
me here.
And thanks for educating all of us old guys, all this new modern stuff.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye. Hey, I want you to come next year to the 14th annual Townie meeting in April and have a blast. There's nothing more fun than a Townie meeting.